Hey, what's up, guys? We're up here.
Let's check this out. Mudahar's hypocritical Nuxtaku call-out backfires horribly. Oh no, not the Sonic Chew necklace!
Hey, what's up, guys? We're up here. So it appears that the Sonichu medallion has claimed another
soul.
The
Sonichu medallion has claimed another soul.
This cursed trinket, Mudahar finds himself in some pretty serious controversy involving this now privated video he uploaded yesterday titled Post-Nux Clarity, which, regardless of your thoughts about the content of this video, you have to admit the title is a banger. Now, what was this video about? Well, it was 40 minutes of Mudahar disavowing Nuxtaku in every shape and form, saying that they are no longer friends and they no longer have a business relationship, and any bridge between the two has been completely burned down. Now, this tweet right here really kind of sums up the relevant context you need to know before we get into the video. Of course, there are some re-uploads that we're going to look at today. So this says, Nux goes extreme anti-lolly to cater to people like Mudahar. Rev exposes Nux for being a hypocrite. Nux says he's so big he could deplatform Rev. Mudahar makes a video damning and cutting ties with Nux because he considers him a lolicon. Yeah, so that's pretty much how everything went.
You get what you effing deserve, the Joker.
A bunch of tweets and some offhand remarks and videos disparaging people over the topic of lolly. Now, this is, of course, something that was very hypocritical. I made a video calling all of that out, saying, hey, you have dozens of videos with cropped lolicon in your thumbnail. You've also shown this sort of content to other content.
Oh, they're saying, because some of these are like extreme, like actual freaking lolicon
creators, and reacted to it yourself. And he would make this response video to what I said. And you can see the like-dislike ratio. It is easily the hardest dislike ratio you'll probably find on any video he has uploaded in his entire YouTube career, because it was just awful. I felt no need to make a video response to this because he essentially cooked himself. Okay, he went after me, hypocritically slandering me over things, also failing to address pretty much any point I made.
Bro, I didn't know that I knew that there was like a little bit of like stuff there. I didn't realize that there was this much like beef between Rev and freaking Nux, like at all. What the frick? I'm learning about this.
Only on throwing insults at me. Also, he made up some wild claims that my wife was digging for dirt, asking his friends for dirt on him, which is really crazy. On top of that, he also said he could have deplatformed me if he uploaded this on his main Nuxtaku channel. Obviously, that didn't go over very well, and that's kind of the Nux side of the...
Really? Nux? Is that true? Did you do that? I'm a fan of Nux. How dare you? That's not cool.
This whole lolly controversy, and now we have the side with Mudahar.
I like Rev
here,
and I like Nux. They're not perfect, but I don't like to see this. I never like to see this, of course, in any situation. I don't like it when these like what I consider to be big time like VTuber internet celebrities, internet stars, sort of like start to do this to each other. We're all in the anime, the VTuber community. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? Why? No goo.
About 2
we should
years
be backing
ago,
each other
Mudahar
up,
made
supporting each
tweets
other
about the topic, saying that if you watch that stuff, you need to be on a watch list, that it can harm real people, and that it's illegal content and all this stuff.
Look, fair is fair. And I'm gonna say this. Fair is fair. First of all, and this is just as a base to this whole thing. In general, we're not talking about real people. These are all fictional, non-real, fake people that do not exist. Secondly, even though that these are characters that do not exist and are not real, and don't actually exist in reality, it is very telling when you have, let's say, sexual preferences towards what without a shadow of a doubt looks like a little girl. There's like again, flat-chested body types, and then there's full-blown little girls. And there's a difference. So I will absolutely judge you based on that, like, preference, so to speak. If it's a little girl, if it looks like a little girl, period. Let's stop BSing here. However, if you're just into the like petite body type, I don't really hold any judgments towards that whatsoever. It is what it is. Like, what do you mean? Like, there are women out there that are very petite, and they have no control over that. More than we do, more than I do over how big I am. So it's like, there's no reason for that.
And of course, his disgust on the topic is totally valid. That's something very understandable and that he's allowed to have, but that doesn't justify spreading misinformation and fear-mongering over the topic, and also being a hypocrite about it as well, as we'll see in this video. And on top of that, a lot of people point out the fact that he has openly admitted to regularly consuming cartel execution videos. So at the very least, regardless of your thoughts on the fictional content, you can say, I don't really know if I want to be virtue signaled about fictional content by a guy who watches people get tortured and brutally executed on camera, right? So that's kind of where we were at, and I held out a lot of copium. I made the mistake of having some copium on the situation because I've enjoyed Mutahar's content for many years.
I feel like both things can be disturbing and both things can be criticized to a certain extent separately. I don't see how, like, for example, like, just because Mutahar has like his opinions on Lolly doesn't mean that, like, or I should say, just because Mutahar likes to watch basically snuff films, execution films, doesn't invalidate his criticisms of Lolly. You get me? But so I'm not really gonna, like, I'm not taking one as a, like, hypocritical take on another. You get me? Like, just because he watches one doesn't make him a hypocrite for not watching the other. These are two separate things. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like hypocrite is kind of a strong word here.
And I know he's had good takes on other things, so I thought maybe
now, if the execution videos he watches had lollies in it, I'd be like, oh yeah, he's definitely a hypocrite.
He would have a more nuanced take on this whole subject, and maybe just even
I'm surprised. I didn't expect this out of Mutahar. He always seemed very level-headed.
To achieve what we're doing today,
and accepting.
We're going to have to talk about some hentai, which seems fitting because if there was tags applied to this situation, it would be mind break, because this topic has mind broken Mutahar to the point where he's saying some pretty unhinged crazy stuff, including making a whole 40-minute video about this topic where he is, of course, disavowing Nux Taku over this subject. So, as I said, the video is now private, but there are re-uploads all over the place. And we're going to start with this clip right here where he's basically giving kind of the general intro to what we're going to talk about today.
But to go back to it, Nux Taku is a former collaborator, a former friend of mine, and I mean really a former friend of mine, because some of the stuff that I've seen over here is disgusting enough that I really can't continue a friendship, and I really can't, like, again, excuse some of my behavior watching.
See, here's the thing. He's saying some of this stuff is, like, can no longer allow the friendship. And it's like, if there's something worse than what I know, I want to know about it. Because I'm going to put some context out there, and if there's more context to this that I'm not aware of, please let me know. But to the best of my knowledge, the two biggest crimes I've heard from this whole controversy are that A, Nux Otaku at some point was considering a collaboration with Shadman, who is someone who, whatever opinions you may have about Lolly, this dude actually took a real life little girl and made Lolly hentai of that, a real life little girl. That far exceeds any boundaries of, like, morally okay. Like, there's nothing to do with Lolly anymore. This is the unconsenting drawing in corn of somebody else, especially an actual little girl. And there's no Lolly there. There's no, like, petite body type. That's just a little girl, period. So that is the biggest crime. He was in talks with Shadman to do a collaboration, but that fell off. That never happened. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. But at that point, if you can't collaborate or even, like, talk to, discuss, like, anything with like people that are controversial, then we have a lot of people to cancel on the internet. Beyond that, sorry, I'm still a little sick. Taking sips here. Beyond that, I've also heard that he's getting a lot of criticism for doing this sort of like Rule 34 review, where they would like go, they would like, he basically would show a bunch of really freaking like wild hentai to other VTubers and other YouTubers, so they would all be like, "What the frick is it? What the frick is that?" It was basically like showing your friends Two Girls One Cup. You get me? It was the shock value of it all. I don't understand why everyone's acting like this was not all of the early 2000s like YouTube content. Like, I get it, but like, if we're gonna start calling out Nux Otaku for doing like basically just like shit talking bad Rule 34, it's like, didn't other people were doing this? Like, right off the top of my head, Funhouse had the whole demo disc situation where they would play old demo discs and like constantly bring up random freaking Rule 34. And they would even do stuff like of Hermione, like the freaking Harry Potter stuff, Autobots, wild, ridiculous Rule 34 stuff. Like, why is Nux Otaku so much like different than anybody else? That like Mutahar had to make this freaking like video on the guy and disavow him and everything that like is related to him. You know, that's what I don't get.
Content as well.
So he makes it very clear from the intro that he is largely disavowing Nux Taku thanks to the fictional content he has consumed and the fictional content he has shared with other content creators, including Mutahar himself. And this is supposed to be another angle of the video where Mutahar is taking accountability for his role in consuming some of this content he believes is illegal. So this is where there's a bit of a longer clip. This goes on for about a minute, but I think it's really important to listen to because he sets up some wild standards that end up basically being self-sabotage.
And again, when I was working with Nux, a lot of the things we did talk about was being anti-loli in that situation. And Nux very much made it clear to me that he was anti this stuff as well too, and he still maintains it to this day. But the kind of stuff that he showed us was anime ni summer. Now, inside the video, inside Nux's presentation, it kind of came off as like just a cursed little hentai. And the reality of it is, I never really watched his collaboration. But if you take the name that Ni Summer has had and put it into my anime list, which I realistically should have done at the time, you can see the synopsis is Yuta Yamayuchi is a average high school student, right? So right there, I'm not going to play the whole semantics, oh, is this really loli game? Like, I don't even care if somebody is like 18 or on the cusp of like turning 19. At the end of the day, high school can very much involve a minor. And when you scroll down and go...
Yeah, so at least here in the United States, it's pretty like normal, pretty average for high schoolers in their last year of high school to be like 18. But most tend to be around 17, 18. So a high schooler would not like be realistically not be an adult.
So that's really all we got to hear in terms of this point, but he makes several standards here, right? So he's talking about this video that Nux had him react to, and he thinks that it contains lolicon by his own definition, and that makes it bad, and he sets up the standard about high school students in high school settings and things like that. So, number one...
But again, there's a difference here between, like, again, the way he's talking about it, he makes it seem like a lolly is an underage person, when, no, that's just a minor. We call them minors. A lolly is a body type. That's like saying like, the best way to explain it would be like, what's their body, like, what's that person's body type? Well, that's a pear body type. You know, you got the pear-shaped body. I got that pear shape to me. You feel me? Where I'm like kind of rounded on the bottom, but kind of skinny at the top. I got that pear going. You know what I'm saying? A lolly is like a petite like person with like no booba, no booty. You get me? Like, so it's like a body type. You know, like So it's not really like has nothing to do with age. I don't think he's confusing it with minor.
I do believe that you should care about the definition of a term you're using to chastise others.
Yeah.
Okay, he makes it clear that he's kind of just making up his own definition of lolly as he goes, but still feels strong enough to use that self-created definition to cancel other people. That seems a bit irresponsible to me. And if you want a correct definition, I don't care what some Twitter spurg says and their misinformation surrounding the topic, because there is so much misinformation surrounding this topic. Lolly is a very simple definition. It is a petite body type in anime and manga. That's it. It comes along with cute aesthetics. It has nothing to do with age. Twitter has filled people's minds with a lot of misinformation on the topic. And if you want proof of that, here's like the easiest example, right?
I love how this is like literally the definitive example. I use Rebecca as an example every single time too.
Rebecca from Cyberpunk. She's in her 20s. She is unequivocally a lolly. No one can question that. That is literally what she is. Even Studio Trigger, one of the most legendary anime studios out there, categorizes her as that term. This is not a debate. Unfortunately, like I said, Twitter has spread so much misinformation that this very simple term has been manipulated into something used to weaponize outrage about fictional content, to cancel people, and what have you. But anyways, we also see Muta set up this definition about these high school students. Even when these characters are 18 or on the cusp of being 19, it doesn't matter. It's still falling under this lolicon definition of his because of the school uniforms and the school setting, which is...
Trust me when I say this, as somebody as somebody who used to be in middle school and high school, myself, I have experience. I used to be in middle school and high school at one point in my life. You would definitely find a lot of ladies that are definitely not lollies in middle school and high school. Some people just progress a little bit faster than others. It's just a fact. Freaking similar to like similarly with men, you will have some people who like will be in their 20s, almost in their 30s, and they can't really grow a full beard that well. But then you have like some dudes who are in like literally in freaking middle school with a full freaking stacked beard, bro, going like ham.
Not just pretty a reach to say the least, but also it's incredible self-sabotage. I mean, one of the worst cases of self-sabotage I have seen in quite some time, because in this video that Nux showed, of course, there was those high school students, and his outrage over that would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that his self-described favorite hentai is Dropout. And if you can't see it from the image from that content,
Dropout?
She is wearing a high school uniform, because the entire premise of this hentai is high school students in a high school setting. And I can scroll to the right because there's tags included in this image, and I would just have to censor my whole screen. Here's some of the tags, right? There's a high school girl uniform, high school boy uniform. There's R wording in this. There's chloroform. There's snuff. There's other tags like vomit and scat, like to the normie side of the internet, which is probably the type of people who are, you know, in Mutahar's circle. That's a pretty hardcore set of content right there, okay? And it contains the exact thing that he is canceling Nux for by his own definition.
See, because freaking A. I feel like a lot of times people forget just how, like, people really forget and try to push off the entire, like, oh, you're into schoolgirls staying out to Japan? And, like, just be like, whoa, look at that, look at them weirdos, they freaking like schoolgirls. But you forget that, like, America has this wild and crazy obsession with, first of all, and I'm gonna call you all out, Americas, the United States of America specifically, the U.S. The U.S. has this deep obsession with, first of all, incest. Look it up. The Orange YouTube, they constantly put out statistics They are obsessed with incest, dude. Obsessed with it. No wonder Game of Thrones did so well. Okay, first of all. And secondly, it's schoolgirl stuff. A bunch of schoolgirl stuff. The US really likes schoolgirl stuff, like high school stuff. Pretending to be a teacher, pretending to be like, you know, it's like a bunch of adult women that definitely, in most cases, don't even look like they look like they're hitting their 40s. But you know, the point is that they still freaking dress up in the schoolgirl uniform. We're gonna act like Western civilization hasn't like fetishized that for like a long time already. Come on, what are you doing?
And if you don't trust me, I mean, you can listen to him talking about this.
Of course, the major difference becomes whether it's in like high school or in college and whatnot. You get me?
Only a few years ago.
But trust
It was
me,
Dropout. That was the name.
I don't see no colleges giving those kinds of uniforms.
Dropout. Don't. So basically, the premise is it's like if you're not smart, like if you're not a smart chick, they turn you into like like a public urinal where like you just get fucked.
What the
You get
frick?
the point, okay? He's describing the plot.
No
It is
way!
something that, by his own definition, is something worthy of losing a friendship over, a business.
That's freaking twisted,
so
dude.
I think that level of
That's some, like,
hypocrisy
torture
and
stuff.
self-sabotage in that one
They turn you into a
section of the
urinal?
video was already enough to really scale back any sort of point he was trying to make. But let's move on to the next section. I stated earlier in the video that a lot of
I
people
gotta
point out-
admit, I even though I try to act like a degenerate, I don't have the stomach to watch some of that like torture. That's no, I can't. The second anything like too weird happens, I'm not turning the page anymore. I'm done. Over. There we go. Hey, no fighting. They're fighting over the bed. They both want the freaking bed. I'm gonna kick both of y'all off the bed. Oreo, no. Play
the
nice.
fact that he consumes these
Play nice,
cartel
babies.
execution
What?
videos.
Oh, what's your brother doing? Is
And
your brother
right
being
here,
mean to
he
you?
addresses
Is your
that
brother
point
being mean to
directly.
you, Izzy?
Now, obviously, I want to address some other like power round criticism before
Is
we
your
end
brother
this
being
off.
mean to you, baby? Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Oh, he's being so mean to my doggo boy. Here you go, baby. I'm gonna give him a little treat. They've been so freaking. They've actually been really nice today. Alright, but you gotta relax. There you go, baby Gecko. Baby Oreo, you need to relax, chill, sit. There you go, good boy. There you go, baby. Sorry, they've been so nice today. They've been so good today.
Lol, fuck Muta. Dude's been a hypocrite forever as well. Dude virtue signals over cartoons, but loves watching beheading videos. So I want to also address this statement as well. Now, on the podcast, I talked about a morbid curiosity that I have with like beheading videos, like cartel stuff on the internet. And I feel like I have to explain this a little bit more. My morbid curiosity comes from the fact...
Oh, of course, bro. We all want to see somebody get beheaded. What you mean? Why are we acting like this is not something every single person will take the opportunity? Like if everybody gets like the video hand fed to them, nobody's not gonna be like, alright, I'm not gonna watch that. They're gonna freaking click play just out of morbid curiosity. Like that's a normal thing. But I guess what people are trying to say is like don't virtue signal, don't virtue signal over something while A, not having the facts straight. Like obviously you don't understand Lolly, and then B, don't virtue signal over something that is, like, honestly, less gruesome than, A, stuff that you're watching, because you're watching, Dropout, and then B, you're watching something that could be considered real life, actual real things happening, as in people genuinely that exist that are actual people getting executed. Like, that's a lot, that's a little bit more, like, IRL, it's a little bit more gruesome, isn't it?
That for a long time, for years at this point, I've been looking into the Mexican drug war. And if you're...
Okay, so he'll go on to clarify that a little bit more, but I think it's just an unbelievable level of copium where he's trying to say his morbid curiosity towards this subject is one from an investigation sort of view, right? He's trying to investigate this topic, which is odd because it's like you're not law enforcement. It doesn't give you the right to
it's not
consume
really your
any
job.
illicit content you want. And on top of
That's kind of like that one reporter. There was this one reporter. I forgot who it was, dude. But there was this one reporter that was like, "Hey, because I'm a journalist and I'm writing an article on this, I should be allowed to have like CP on my computer and like be able to watch it to report on it and like be a reporter." And it's like, no, that's stupid. What? No, it's like, Bro, it doesn't matter in what situation, in what scenario you have CP. Like, the fact that you got your hands on CP is a problem. I need to know who you got it from, how they got it, what sources did they use to get it. Like, I need to know all of that. The moment, like no, that's stupid.
But
Such
that,
a
like,
terrible
that
freaking
sort
like
of
argument.
justification
That's so
could be
dumb.
used for a lot of different illicit content people want to consume online. And again, at the end of the day, we're thinking too hard about this, right? I just don't think people want to be virtue signaled at about
Like,
fictional content.
if Lolly was real, actual, genuine CP, law enforcement would get involved a lot more. They actually are very, very involved in a lot of these cases. I can tell you that personally. But it's not breaking any freaking laws, like, because it's not what people are claiming it is.
And from a guy who can stomach and go through videos of real life people.
Now again, Shadman drawing a picture of a real life little girl as hentai. That is definitely, as far as I'm concerned, that should be illegal. That should be illegal as far as I'm concerned. Yes. That you are taking a real life underage person.
Ways. Okay, I think it's really not that complicated. But the next clip we're gonna watch involves some of the blind spots he had towards Nux and possibly other people. But let's listen to what he had to say.
So again, I don't really watch a lot of content creators that I collaborate with, and nobody really does, okay? Like, at the end of the day, when it came to Nux's channel, here I'm signed on with my actual YouTube account, and if it's one thing that you'll see, usually under videos, there'll be like a red
Illuminati! Dude, that's
bar.
a freaking
I
hot
don't
pose of
have
Illuminati,
a red
though.
bar under basically any of these videos. I think the only video I have an actual red bar in this is probably... I showed YouTubers the most cultured clips, which I actually browsed through just for the sake of, again, this video.
Okay, so he says some things that
That
are
thumbnail, though.
right generally, but they're not correct specifically when we're referring to Nuxtaku. So yes, I agree with him when he says that a lot of content creators don't watch the content of people they associate with online, whether it's like someone they follow or maybe even friends with. They're not going to consume every single video they upload, and I think that's true. Like, I'm mutuals on social.
That is most definitely true. We're not. You're like, normally I'm not concerned with consuming the content so much as I'm concerned with creating the content. So like, I'm not gonna worry about like watching your stuff. And that's very true. That's very true. But you know, maybe you should. I would argue, if you're gonna collaborate with them in a further like way, it's kind of like, I will randomly get people on here like shout at me, like come at me, like, hey, let's collaborate, let's do this, let's do that, and I'm like, okay, well, like, hit me up first of all. Let me know what you want to do. What game are you trying to play? You know, what time do you have available? And, you know, let me get a link to your YouTube because I want to check out your stuff. I want to see, you know, get the vibe, like your general vibe. And then depending on if I feel like I feel like you're a chill person, I'd be like, you know what, yeah, why not? Let's collaborate. You know, like there's a way to do these
Social
things.
media with a lot of
I feel
people
like
where content creators, I might have seen like 1 or 2 videos or a small snippet of what they do. I am not sitting there watching every single video they upload. That's just the reality. There's not infinite hours in the day to do stuff like that. So yes, some things could slip through the cracks here and there, but
which is true. In this case, though, in this particular case, though, I would argue that it's not like nobody's faulting you for not watching every single video. I feel like people are criticizing you for overreacting in such a like throw you under the bus way, so quickly, so fast, when you could have honestly taken the time to further investigate this matter and just really try to get an understanding on the situation. And you know, potentially doing something like that, like, it's one thing to just be like, hey, you know, like if I was in Muta position and I was being judged for all this stuff, I could see myself being like, hey, Nux, I'll tell you what, my dude, like in private, like, you know what, my dude, like, you know, I'm getting a lot of heat for this. Like, what's going on here? What's your opinion on this? What's going on? You know, and once I get an explanation from him, I can sort of like do my own research into the matter, see what it is, what's the dealio, and then, you know, just because you don't want to only take his word on it, and then based on that, even if I really did want to like no longer associate with him, you don't have to make a whole video throwing him under the bus. You can really just stop making content with him. Let it be. Don't bring him up anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way to handle this with grace, I would say.
Nuxtaku to Mutahar is not just some Twitter mutual or random
No,
guy
they had a
kind
podcast
of barely
together.
know, right? This is someone who he was friends with. This is someone who he collabed with. It wasn't just one video that he was reacting to that hentai with. There was many videos. I can count at least a handful of collab videos they did on Nuxtaku's main channel, and also they ran a podcast together. So you didn't even look at this guy's channel. It's not like you had to watch the videos. Just scroll through the thumbnails and you would see stuff left and right that would probably upset someone with the sort of disgust they have for certain fictional content. On top of that,
Like, I feel like even if it's all true and he never ever looked at any of Nux's stuff, I feel like when people start accusing him left and right and there's starting to be this huge controversial thing, take the time, you know what I mean? Take a weekend off and just like watch some of his stuff and just be like, okay, like totally get an idea. You know, like go out, like even if all you do is like go off and pick the most controversial looking videos from their thumbnails, like you can do that.
I do find it kind of hard to believe that he hasn't been exposed to some of these controversies, especially someone who was friends with Nuxtaku, whether it's some of the thumbnail drama and all that stuff and the hypocrisy on the subject of Lolly, but also some of his bigger controversies like the Taiga controversy.
Listen, bro, here's my response to any thumbnail judgments of any kind in any situation. A thumbnail is meant to get your attention. It is a headline. You cannot judge a person for making a freaking controversial thumbnail any more than you can criticize somebody for making a controversial headline in a newspaper. You get me? Like, it's just, people are gonna sensationalize everything. That's how you get the clicks. I understand it. Even if somebody someday in the future gets a really weird image of me, sensationalizes it, I understand. Like, I get it. I might not be happy about it, but I get it.
Example, which would be covered in this video. He would actually mention what happened with Taiga as a way to show that Nux isn't a very good person, and there's really a lot to say here. If you don't know the Bungo Taiga situation, I'll put a link to one of my videos in the description if you want to check out that whole thing. But he is now bringing this up in this video, acting...
I'll give you guys, don't worry, I got you. If you don't know the Bunga Taiga situation, Bunga Taiga basically is a VTuber who is a little bit of a, he can be considered a lolly too, but I guess there's like a different word for it if you're like a male lolly. Regardless, like, point being is that, unfortunately, Taiga had a stalker, as well as some haters that got together, and the stalker, because Bunga Taiga wouldn't, like, give them attention, basically started to perpetuate a bunch of lies, pretty messed up lies, let's say that. You know, we'll get into all that, I don't want to perpetuate it any further, but basically made up a lot of lies about Taiga, basically got them banned off of multiple platforms. Like, it was a very successful cancellation attempt by a stalker who was mad that Taiga wasn't giving him the time of day. And unfortunately, Nux Otaku heard a lot of these rumors, these allegations, and pretty much just ran with it. Just like really did not understand the situation, didn't look into it, just ran with that info. And unfortunately, Bunga Taiga got a lot of hatred. Now, of course, they were not blaming Nux for it, but Nux was definitely a big name who was addressing the situation or discussing it. And, unfortunately, Taiga is still to this day, handling some of the repercussions of that, like, harassment campaign. Super sad, really cool VTuber. Go check him out. But the reason why he got so incredibly criticized for that whole situation is that even after things have been clarified, Bunga Taiga's name had been, basically, in my opinion, had been cleared of any bad malpractice, cleared of any bad doing. Nux, rather than making a specific video apologizing to Taiga, like, and bringing up the fact, maybe making like a correctional video, you know what I'm saying? He kind of made a video where he did apologize, but it was like a 14-minute video where like 2 minutes was an apology and the rest of it was like a whole other discussion about like cancel culture and like the whole situation. Like, it was basically, it didn't feel like a genuine apology video. It felt more like he had a different video idea and wanted to add the Taiga apology into that video, to not mess up his schedule or something. I don't know. It was kind of strange, kind of weird. But I do subscribe to Asmongold's mentality on those situations where it's like, if you're gonna apologize, you better mean it. Just apologize if you mean it, and if you don't mean it, just don't apologize. Don't make a video. Don't talk about it. Don't discuss it. There's no reason to. There's no benefit to doing that. So it's kind of like, if you weren't gonna make a video, in my personal like thought on it, even though I'm a big fan of Nux, if you're gonna make a video on it, like just make the apology video, make it formal, explain the situation, make the corrections, and like be done. Like otherwise, just don't apologize. Don't make a whole another video and like try to attach the freaking like thank you to the end of it. So even though yes, he totally, definitely, 100%, he did apologize to Taiga in that video. We have a right to criticize the way he went about doing it.
Like this is the first he's ever heard of the Nux and Taiga controversy.
To go over a bit of their controversy, in summer 2022, Taiga was accused of grooming. They made a twit longer where they reviewed the allegations and called them false. Later, an updated Google Doc was created that had evidence that not only were these allegations fake, they were deliberately created by ex-moderators and spread by a stalker of Taiga. So again, this is the Google Doc in question. Now again, I have no idea about this controversy whatsoever. I'm only bringing this up because it was actually a big point of contention for someone like Nux.
So he goes on to talk about the situation a bit, and if you don't know, very briefly, Nux called Taiga a predator based on allegations he had heard at the time. Those allegations were debunked by an independent investigator later on, and Nux made a pinned comment basically saying he would possibly readdress this whole situation if he was found innocent, which Taiga was, but he never really addressed it fully for many, many years. And over the course of basically 2 full years, this was an ongoing controversy that caused a lot of damage to the reputation of Taiga unfairly, and Nux still to this day really hasn't.
And a big issue too was the fact that he dragged his feet on the matter too, to be honest. And as you know, in the Twitch, especially in the streamer community, a month by itself is like can make or break a streamer. It really can.
Fully acknowledged. He's tried to apologize over the summer when this flared up again, but he really didn't do a very good job of it, at least to most people. But this is something that, like I said, been going on for 2 years consistently. A lot of people look at the Shoujo drama and that controversy with Nux, and they think that's the biggest thing he's faced. Maybe in some ways, I think it was the most explosive controversy he was a part of.
Maybe I should look into that, because I'm not sure too much on that.
The biggest because it's taken place for 2 years, and it regularly flares up like it did over the summer. So I have a hard time believing Muta has never heard about this until now, especially since the first attempt at an apology by Nux, the first time he addressed it, was about a year after he initially called Taiga a predator in a collab video with Moist Critical. He did that on the Some Ordinary podcast. He referred to making mistakes with that situation. He was very vague. But again, how do you not know this ever happened?
Yeah, he brought it up on his podcast. That's a pretty good point. I guess it's not that I don't think it's that he never heard of it. I think it's the first time he paid attention to it.
I mean, it's either just putting on blinders, like he said, he's been putting on blinders to people he's friends with, or the worst possibility is that he's only bringing this up now to disparage Nux, which shows he doesn't really.
Whether that's what he intended to do or not, it's definitely what happened. Like, it's definitely what happened. I don't know if that was his intention. But I can totally see this as just being like, hey, it's Nux. I know the guy. So he didn't like put a whole lot of value in the controversy. You get what I'm saying? Just sort of assume that the Nux is innocent, or assume that it wouldn't, like, whatever it was, Nux has a handle on it, and he'll come out on top. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just something you're like, nah, like, no, he's got it. It's fine. I doubt he would do something that bad. Not really denying it, just not really having an opinion on the matter, because he doesn't really like concern himself with it. He doesn't, like, it's somebody he knows. You get me? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Care about the situation, if that's the truth. If he really did know about this beforehand, but if he didn't, at the very least, he's been having very active blinders to some.
I genuinely believe that if you're gonna have, especially if you're gonna have any kind of like collaborations on YouTube and stuff, you have to be comfortable with calling each other out. You have to be comfortable with calling anybody and everybody out, especially if they're your friend. You have to be comfortable with calling them out. Because if they're messing up, if they're doing something that's, like, just wrong, it's just better to call them out in the moment instead of allowing it to fester or to be something that they're comfortable doing around you. You get me?
Controversies that Nux has been a part of. And this whole question of bringing up things during this video,
sorry,
there was a question of why do this at all, right? Like, why even bring up
there was no
any
reason
of
for
this
the video
stuff to begin with? And I think it becomes pretty obvious that there's been a big flare-up of people calling out Mutahar and his connection to Nux and some of the collabs he did with him, thanks to a Reddit post that was blowing up. He made the cardinal mistake of caring what Reddit thinks.
But one of the clips that I saw, one of the things shared was resurfaced video of Oompaville, Some Ordinary Gamers, and Nuxtaku watching.
I love how Mutahar is like, I'm gonna quit Twitter. No more Twitter. Goes to Reddit. Like, how, like, bro, that's your substitute is freaking Reddit.
Lowly together on a Discord call.
An
So
echo chamber of echo chambers.
Me, and obviously it flashbangs anybody. And I want to definitely have a
echo
talk
chamber
about it
full
and
of
really
echo chambers, bro.
explain
What are you
to
doing?
Exactly what this is, what it's about, give you my side of the perspective, and again, take accountability where accountability
I'm gonna start my own
needs to
Reddit.
be fucking taken.
So, yes, you can see this was the intro of the video.
OzDaMonke Reddit.
He makes it clear that
I'm gonna
this
call it
post
Flamethrower
is
Monkey.
what drove him into this, and I do probably believe that is the truth. I think this is what made him, or motivated him to make this video. I think it's pretty clear. It got under his skin, and a lot of other content creators have been coming for him, even calling Mutahar a predator and all these things for the content he was exposed to while reacting to those videos with Nuxtaku. And it really begs the question of who was this video for?
They really make it seem like these videos was Nux Otaku enjoying these this hentai and like talking great about all this like stuff. When I don't think that was the point. I think the whole point was to laugh and make fun of it, wasn't it?
Was this video for entertainment and the entertainment of his
Like,
audience?
did you watch it?
Or was this to quell concerns among his colleagues and really like commentary channels, generally speaking? And I think it's the latter. And I think if he had a more level-headed reaction to this whole situation, clearly this was a very emotionally charged video. I think if he went with a clearer head, he wouldn't have made this video. When you get to a point where you're making a video not for entertainment or the informing your audience of a situation or anything like that, when it becomes like an airing out of personal grievances against people or things like that, that tends to have a bad reaction. And the reaction from the people to Mutahar when his video was still up was very largely negative. The majority of comments were negative. There was a heavy dislike ratio. I think it was very clear that people were just not really impressed by a 40-minute video attacking someone over fictional content, attacking to the point where you end a friendship and a business relationship over it. But there's also this is the post that I'm referring to, by the way. I'm a little scattered here with all these tabs open, but this was the post on Reddit if you're curious. But this is the conclusion of the video, so let's listen to his final thoughts and kind of how he wraps up everything in this video.
At the end of the day, I make fuck-ups. Human beings, we all make fuck-ups. I think choosing how you acknowledge those fuck-ups, that goes a long way. And how I choose to acknowledge this fuck-up is basically, again, by completely being 100% transparent, honest with you, shedding light on things like the podcast shutting down. And ultimately, I want to move past this, leave this behind, and really just sort of end this on a note where at least I get my side of the story out. For the last...
So, obviously, he harps on taking accountability a lot during this video, and then the video goes private. So kind of like, what was the point of all of this? I'm not quite sure, but he would make a community post on
Seriously, like, why make the video? I don't understand it. Like, don't get, like, if he thought, like, I understand that he thought this was, like, a very serious matter. He really, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I understand where he was coming from with this. Thinking that Nux was way worse than what people were saying. But why make this, like, you didn't have to call him out. You could have, like, handled this, like, this is, like, something you know, someone you know personally. Like, I would, like, kind of like with Ludwig and the Hassan Piker situation. It's kind of like, if this is somebody you know personally, maybe you're too close to the matter. You should, like, take a step back and really, like, figure out what's going on before you speak on it.
YouTube, saying this: regarding the last video about Nux, while I can't be a friend after some of the things that have resurfaced, I do feel I did do an overreaction.
Like, I want to know what things specifically that resurfaced. Like, I really wish he would, like, say what specific things what drew the line, so to speak.
And from being emotional on the
What do you
reaction
know that
from
I
the
don't?
community on Reddit. Again, paying attention to anything Reddit says is a huge mistake. But he continues on saying, I've been watching my content for the past few weeks and realized my channel has slipped into a slop channel. I've made more drama.
Yeah, people call slop. They call that anything that's a reaction to current events, anything that's a reaction to anything really is considered slop now. Like if you're like what you don't like it, don't watch it. Like what do you mean?
Drama-related content over the
Some of
last
us
several
care
months,
about what's happening on
and
the
I
platform.
have fun, engaging, and informative content. That includes producing videos that don't release daily. I need to take more time and release content a couple times a week that stands in quality and not quantity. I don't do this for a job, so honestly, going out of my way to constantly chase trends has done nothing beneficial for me other than alienating my most hardcore fans.
Yeah, see, that's fine and all, but I don't like that. Doesn't really explain slop or not. Like that. This really has nothing to do with the like what. So you made the video throwing Nux under the bus because your channel's been slop lately. I don't get it. Or because your channel is slop. Like
I need to take a few days off and reset and produce better content that isn't the
I make
latest trends
slop.
or internet drama. While that produces a good view count, it's not the kind of content I want to be known for. I'll be back with content that I'm proud of.
Listen, I'm early on YouTube. I need quantity over quality. I will get there eventually. Trust me. When I get a team of editors, it's gonna be dope.
All I can do is apologize and promise to do better. So that's kind of the end of the situation, and probably the best thing for him to do, which is touch grass. Take a break from this
For
stuff.
a little bit, yeah.
What happened with Nux and this whole topic has clearly really gotten into his head, and it led to 40 minutes of really just some disappointing content. And like I said earlier in the video, I've been a fan of his content for years, and I would like to see a return. But for a lot of people, after seeing kind of this whole thing go down, they might not be giving a second chance.
No, I mean, I'm definitely not, I'm gonna be looking at him way, way, way different than I did before. But if I see him making more like, more of those videos where he used to like do deep dives into like internet like creepypastas and like controversy stuff and like stuff like not necessarily controversy, what's the word? Like hacker stuff, cool internet like crazy stuff.
But
I'd
that's
watch
up
it.
to every individual person, and yeah, feel free to react the way you want to that situation. But for now, that's gonna do it for this Muta.
Nah, son, just like anybody I watch on YouTube, like my whole mentality has always been like I'll watch your content, I don't care. I'll watch your content if it's entertaining. But like my opinion of you might be whatever it is. You get me? Like I watch Nux, even though I know like I don't agree with everything he says. I watch him. Muta, I watch. Mr. Beast, I watch his videos if even though I kind of don't like the guy. Quite a few YouTubers that I could be like, oh, that he messed up, like but I still like the person, like the YouTuber that they are, the content that they're creating. So it's kind of like I don't get that. I like to, it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't agree with everything that like a lot of people do. Some people are like way too extreme, but I watch their content here and there. Like if it's entertaining, you know what I mean? Like it's not like I do it all the time, but I will watch a Destiny video, or I'll watch a Hassan Piker video, or like I'm not a big fan of Boogie 298 anymore, but I watch his stuff here and there, especially his old stuff. I'll go back and watch some of his old video. Though I'm not like I have my opinions of him now based on like more recent events that happened with him.
Nux Taku set a drama here. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Like I don't get it, cause like what does slop even mean at this point? Let's go back. Hold on, don't.
Hey, what's up, guys? Up here.
I don't get it. What is slop content at this point, anyways? Cause like I feel like to me, I make slop content. Like my content is the equivalent of me basically making a, half-hour long video, but instead of a comment, because I could just be like, oh boy, that's crazy. I don't like this, blah blah blah. Or I could just make this video and like share it with everyone, and that's my reaction. That's my comment. You get me? Like, this is slop. I make slop. I feel like Muta has not been making slop. He's been making some banger videos, but talking like just discussing situations and stuff happening. I don't understand where this like sudden like panic came from, where he's like freaking freaking bail the water off the ship. Everyone panic. Every man for himself. I don't know what happened. Like why he got into this like mode. It's freaking wild though. It's interesting though. Bro, like it's interesting, and it really teaches you not to like you can't like well, Grandma Monke used to say, "A nadie ni todo el amor ni todo el dinero." To nobody, give all your money or all your love, and it basically just goes to show you that's like, look, ain't nobody, even your spouse, like you can't give them 100%. You can give them 99%, but you can't give them 100%. You can't trust everybody. You just have to have a healthy amount of skepticism. Because like it really can freaking like backfire on you, so you got to be careful. Give love, give trust, but not all of it. Not quite that last little bit. You gotta stay ready, so you gotta get ready. All right, my dudes. I'm gonna drop this on the Discord. Please go drop a like, go drop a sub, go support SS Desu for bringing us this amazing news and breaking down the situation in a way that is easy for us to consume. Phenomenal video. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and become a Monodachi today! I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi! That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut!